My name is Michael Brennan, VP of Strategic Channels here at QoS Networks, coming to you live from the Pacific Northwest, where it's actually not raining for a day, which is pretty cool. Purpose of today's call, right, is to talk about preparing your customer's network for a work from home transition, right? Talking about how we can help you enable customers to deploy, to manage, to embrace a work from home strategy and begin the steps to their digital transformation. Globally, organizations are seeking ways to enable and empower their employees to work from home, whether it's due to the current situation, environmental concerns, travel restrictions. Organizations are embracing new applications in the cloud to stay competitive and differentiated in today's fast-paced digital economy. You know, the concept of any cloud, any application accessed by anyone using any device anywhere is widely accepted. You know, according to Gartner, you know, the stat up here on the screen, about 25% of those surveyed expect 10% of their employees will remain remote. 17 expect 20% will remain remote. 4% expect 50, and 2 expect 50, or 4 is 50. It's the same stat. You know, raw math, right? Quick, add it up, divide it. It's about 25% of the workforce is going to remain from home. This event is creating a new long-term standard from work from home that isn't completely temporary. The sooner companies can start to have this IT discussion, you know, the sooner they can adopt and embrace the remote staff, which will likely be, right, 20 to 25%. The sooner they can do that, the sooner they can move on with their business, right? And there's positives, you know, and we as trusted advisors, we need to share with our customers as we guide them. Think about it, 2/3 of managers report that employees who work from home see an increase in overall productivity. 86% of employees say that that's due to fewer distractions, you know, less stress from not having to commute, minimal office politics, and a personalized, quiet environment. You know, these are all contributors to a more productive remote worker. We saw the same thing, right? Recently, we polled several of our office employees who have been, you know, displaced and are working from home, and all of them have echoed the same, that they feel they've been more productive. You know, 50% of employees said that working from home reduces their sick days, and 56% say it reduces their absences. Most of us on this call, you know, probably work from home on a normal day-to-day basis. We face the challenges of home network setup and performance. And I feel, you know, we owe it to our customers to ensure their transition is smoother, right? There are key issues, you know, for IT teams to deploy and to manage a work from home strategy. Managing a work from home isn't, you know, it isn't without its challenges, which is why until now, you know, most businesses have been resistant to enabling that work from home customer. Lack of staff creates delays in new remote home office rollout, you know, as a result of that repetitive and complex provisioning. Unsatisfactory user experience due to manual day 2 operations that lack performance and visibility. Difficult and expensive to maintain, right? Performance standards for both traditional and cloud applications are difficult to maintain without costly private lines of transport, just, you know, in the days past. A less secure environment that makes it hard to protect the user data, security, right? Data applications and networking due to distributed nature of a home user's devices. Compliant and regulatory requirements that must be considered when workloads are in the cloud. SD-WAN is ideal for enterprises seeking business continuity solutions to enable a remote digital workforce, deliver consumer simplicity, enterprise quality, maximum flexibility in a dynamic and challenging environment. Leaders are concerned with negative impact associated with work from home strategy, and they want to ensure that there is minimized disruption of employees, you know, maintain the highest level of customer service, minimize impact to supply chains, and continue with business at 100% of business operations. So who is QoS Networks, right? Why am I here in front of you guys today talking about what we can do for a work from home strategy? You know, QoS was founded in 2012. We grew up as software was revolutionizing the hospitality, transportation, and retail industries. You think Uber, Airbnb, Amazon, right? That's where we really started to take form. We've been doing network long before that. But in 2015, we saw the need for software to enable and redefine traditional networking. I like to say we read signs, saw the trends, consulted a few psychics, and we aligned, originally with VeloCloud, becoming their premier partner for deploying and implementing SD-WAN solutions. You spin that forward to 2020, our performance is second to none. We have 30,000 devices under management. We're globally deployed in 39 countries and growing. Hopefully by the end of the month, an opportunity that will close will put us into 100 countries. We've established a practice of operational excellence. We manage several of the largest VeloCloud deployments across the globe. We sit on their customer advisory board, right? So our roots are baked in SD-WAN and SD-WAN management deployments and rollout. I like to say we're technology agnostic, right? Because we've grown. We're software enabled and a co-managed services provider built around WAN edge as a service. And our focus, our singular goal is to deliver a superior end user experience through software enabled, purpose-built workflow automations. And we use SD-WAN to enable that experience. In addition, we go beyond SD-WAN to manage what we call the intelligent edge. Routers, switches, WAPs, circuits, SLA deviation reporting, trouble ticketing, with our suite of products built on our intelligent network platform. But I'll get to that later. Right now, let's talk about the work from home struggle, right? Enabling customers to embrace the current challenge and empower a work from home workforce. One of the key challenges is policy management, right? And SD-WAN was purpose built for this. Think centralizing WAN operations, to include virtualizing and automated routing processes. Instead of maintaining expensive hardware, SD-WAN solutions allow you to preserve bandwidth, make configuration, and prioritize traffic. That's critical in today's work from home environment, where typically you have a single circuit supporting the office and the house. Remember earlier I said, any app, anywhere. SD-WAN allows management to be completely centralized, providing the ability to prioritize mission critical traffic. When you think about it, SD-WAN enables some traffic to go to the main office. You can go directly to the cloud. It can go out to, Office 365, Salesforce. Most home workers have video and voice collaboration platforms. And all of these can be enhanced and not impacted by Johnny and his friends in the basement playing Fortnite. One of the greatest advantages of SD-WAN is that it can be used to adjust rules to prioritize traffic on the fly. Ultimately, SD-WAN helps provide workers with more seamless access to apps. And it can be used to support cost-efficient operations. High-quality connections can be set for high-quality apps, and lower-quality connections can be set for lower-quality apps. Realize that at work from home, right, you don't have access to differentiating circuits. And that's one of the value adds to a few of the SD-WAN solutions out there, is that they can do single access remediation. Now, when I think about this and I think about policy management, right, I like to think about questions that empower you guys to have conversations with your customers, right? So when I think of questions pertaining to policy management, does their job include voice and video? Naturally, the answer I feel there is yes, right? Do they use any sort of VDI, remote desktop? Does your customer want to roll out policies to each individual user, device, and network? And what happens when they need to make a widespread network change? Have them consider the number of hours that entails, and it can be overwhelming. The next challenge is obviously security. Typically, work from home users have really no security at home. Their ISP is connected directly into their enterprise computer. Traffic isn't filtered, it isn't protected, and it isn't up to corporate standards. With SD-WAN, your customers can deliver agile, robust, and secure end-to-end deployments with end user transparency. Security is critical. You must address it, since it's imperative to keep private company information out of the wrong hands. SD-WAN also reduces the time required to set up secure communication services. Secure connections can now be created in minutes rather than days or weeks. It's worth noting SD-WAN can help organizations keep their remote employees under the same security protocols as employees in-house. Managing those updates and network changes can be done through the centralized IT center and sent to employees no matter their location. Again, thinking about questions, right, that help customers identify security concerns. Should their internet be restricted to only go to the data center for security inspection, no split tunneling? Will homes require 802.1x authentication to ensure only work-approved devices are on the network? Do they access or do they need access to resources that require a VPN at one or more of the data centers? You know, human error is the greatest concern. What safety nets does your customer, right, do they have in place to ensure employees aren't inadvertently sending sensitive information over an insecure connection path? Again, these are all questions I think about when we're talking about customer engagement strategies. And if you're trying to write these down at home, I'll make a point to send these all out to everybody who attended today's call, so you can have a list of all of these questions that I'm going to rattle off throughout these various slides. So don't focus on the questions. I'll get them to you after the fact. Focus on the sound of my voice. You know, I said it before, SD-WAN was purpose-built to enable the work from home experience. You know, without getting into a throw more bandwidth discussion, the right SD-WAN can make bandwidth smarter with features like single-site remediation. Stability is key. Perhaps the employees who they're used to working from home, but now he or she is sharing the house and the network with the rest of the family. While they're joining video conferencing and making voice calls, other people are, they're streaming movies, they're playing Xbox, and hopefully they're attending classes online. I know in my own house last week, there were 4 different Zoom calls all going at the same time. With the kids in school, my wife working from home, myself working from home. The only one not online was the dog, Toby. The questions you should be asking your customers: is your staff able to access 100% of their data and materials they need to work remote, right? That's a challenge. I'm thinking about my wife, for example, who works for the public school district and has to physically go in to access a system. And here I'm thinking, where's a partner to solve this challenge, right? Because this is what we enable through SD-WAN, and we could fix this. So if there's a partner out there that works in education and wants to talk about it, give me a shout, I'll get you that information. So all of this, right, enabling the work from home, speed of deployment is a huge challenge for shops that have never done it before. IT departments having to manage through a work from home deployment, it's a massive lift. Requires additional headcount, dedicated hours, not to mention the learning curve they endure that can result in cost of errors. And we've done it, right? We've seen it, we've done it. 30,000 devices deployed in the field. The use case that I'm going to talk about here soon talks about the 1,000 devices we deployed in under 10 days. We have the operational readiness to be able to rise to these challenges. Most businesses out there, they're not capable of doing that. They've never done it before. SD-WAN provides organizations with one of the fastest and easiest ways to stand up and manage a home office. Reduces provisioning and deployment times from days to hours or minutes. Our zero-touch provisioning, which I like to call zero-touch plus, and I'll explain later, offers a simplified provisioning and configuration without the need for a network administrator or an expert. With our INDEPLOY, SD-WAN offers simplified day 2 operations for troubleshooting and management through the automation and the policy-based management that we talked about. So let's talk about how we do this and how we do it so efficiently. This is how we get it done. This is our factory, right? INDEPLOY. We've automated it, so DIY is not even close to efficient. This makes our process incredibly streamlined and efficient. The INDEPLOY platform automates configuration and deployment of network devices to eliminate manual processes and ensure rapid, accurate deployment. The platform provides automated configuration, shipping, and deployment of customer network equipment, as well as asset tracking and lifecycle management. If at any point in the customer experience they experience a failure with their device, INDEPLOY allows us to rapidly redeploy a unit. You know, that offers an unheard of SLA, typically 8 hours within most metropolitan areas. This no longer takes days or even weeks to get a down device back up and running. With INDEPLOY, we pull tasking information from ServiceNow and can automate the entire device setup on a per customer basis. You know, it handles rollout, shipping details, and requests, automating the dispatch of the devices if necessary to customer sites. In this case, work from home, so we don't need to do dispatch, but we can automate that for the customer if we needed to. Customers can expect to have their devices delivered to their doorstep extremely quickly. You know, when I think about this, right, back to the questions, there's a whole host of questions that come in when you think about our INDEPLOY and the automation and the AI that we've built around it, right? Asking your customers, have they ever done a large-scale implementation before? How many devices, SD-WAN deployments have they done? Have they ever deployed, you know, a VelaCloud, Versa, Meraki, right? Whatever the platform. How do they coordinate multi-site, multi-device deployments for hundreds or thousands of locations? Are their locations mostly the same, or do they have a different, you know, a number of different complexities such as branch offices, home office, regional offices? Would you like to know where all the devices are during all times of the deployment process, right? Think of this as like the Domino's pizza tracker. You know, we did a live web stream of the 10,000 device or the 9,000 device deployment that we did in a week, right? And it showed where the units were throughout each phase of that deployment cycle. And then how fast was your last rollout? How many months did it take and how many sites? If you think about a full deployment from QoS, above and beyond the work from home rollout, once we've onboarded the customer, we're deploying 10% of their solution a week. So we have a 10-week implementation cycle on a full deployment, right? Obviously work from home's faster, less complex solutions, so we can get them out. You'll see, you know, when I get to the use case, we got them out in 10 days for almost 9,000 devices. And then lastly, would you like to go faster with fewer errors and less staff time? Our INDEPLOY solution, we found, runs at about 1,000% of an error rate. We saw those numbers correlated with our deployment and our use case that we'll talk about in a second. So think about that, error-free deployment. The cost of errors from an organization that's less sophisticated could be astronomical. So let's talk about our speed of deployment use case. I really like this story. You know, one of our customers can't share their name, large insurance company, acting responsibly and wanting to relocate their workforce, came to us and asked if we could deploy 5,000 edge devices in 10 days. 5,000. Apologize while I'm grabbing a sip of water. You know, their purpose was to leverage all of the points we talked about prior to ensure their employees have optimized access to internal and cloud applications, and that corporate policies can be enforced at these new, you know, these new edge locations of employees' homes. We stepped up to the challenge. We handled the staging, the kitting, the distribution and turn up of services with an extremely expedited time frame. I believe the initial 5,000 devices were deployed in under 5 days. The customer, while in the midst of the rollout, came to us and said, can you do 4,000 more? We looked at ourselves and said, yep, we can do that. Because of our operational excellence built around INDEPLOY and our intelligent network platform, we were able to meet their needs. We deployed all 9,000 devices in 10 days. You know, a high degree of respect and accolades goes out to our VP of Operations, Matt Johnson, and his team, who made that all happen. I believe our error rate on that deployment was 5 devices, 1 DOA, and 4 UPS mistakes, or shipper mistakes. I'm not sure if they were UPS. So technically we had 1 error out of 9,000 devices. This chart here just represents the speed of that deployment. It was actually, you know, 8,830 devices, round up to 9,000. But you can see in the first days just the sheer volume in which we got the devices out, 4,700 devices deployed in that short time window. Then we had the slight lull as we got in more hardware, and then ramped up again to get out all 8,800 devices in that 10-day window. And that's based on the speed and the efficiency of the automation software that's powered by INDEPLOY and backed up by our what we call our intelligent network platform. You know, as I mentioned earlier at QoS, we go beyond SD-WAN to manage the intelligent edge. Routers, switches, WAPs, circuits, SLA deviation reporting, trouble ticketing, with our suite of products built around our intelligent network platform. You know, this layers in visibility and analytics that gives IT departments a depth of visibility they've never had before. It's all integrated into their ITSM platforms such as ServiceNow. We enable you, my partners, to offer your customers tremendous flexibility and customization when recommending SD-WAN solutions. Right? If a customer wants to get away from the dreaded aggregator attacks, you can by creating direct relationships with loop providers, all managed through our next-gen reporting and monitoring platforms. If a customer wants best-in-breed voice technology that's only reliable across voice-aware SD-WAN tech, we enable MOS score reporting, quality of experience management, interconnections with the top-tier UCaaS providers. This combo gives you, the partner, the ultimate toolbox in an age when nearly every endpoint in the United States served today, will convert to SD-WAN. Think of it this way: if you want to be a true trusted advisor, you need to bring options that are relevant to your customers' needs, that will help them be competitive in their respective markets. With the robust portfolio of services you have access to, you have those options. Trying to sell the traditional carrier bundles, you put your customer through the same experience that resulted in nearly every major carrier being bought, bankrupt, or stripped of their support services just to survive. Customers don't want that. They don't know, right? They don't even deserve that, nor should they put up with it, and neither do you, our partners. And this is how we make it all happen, right? We're not going to get into the depth of this. We can save that for a separate call. You guys feel free to reach out to me, myself, and my team, and we'll get deeper into the intelligent network platform. But in the beginning, I said we came out of a software revolution. We live and breathe software enablement throughout all walks of our business. We do not adhere to that traditional philosophy of a body in the seat per device, right? If you think about SD-WAN, it stands for software defined. One of my guys, Blaze, will tell you that the moment you insert human into the loop, it becomes human defined, and that breaks the concept of SD-WAN. At QoS, we leverage AI automation that provides monitored analytics and reactive management on top of that single pane of glass. We pull in network inputs from 5 different data sources to give visibility at the customer edge. These include APIs, SNMP, correlation, orchestration, and syslog. And we're data-driven. 8 million API calls a day, ingesting 5,300 data points a minute. We consume this information through this platform, right? Our intelligent network platform that I like to call our software-enabled correlation engine. Doesn't take breaks, doesn't engage in water cooler chit-chat, doesn't text with a significant other. We remove the human element, right? The human error, and drive a speed of identification of that root cause analysis and remediation found nowhere else. Just some basic stats, right? 90% of incidents proactively identified by the platform. We say 65 to 90% of those are resolved without human intervention. One of our customers, recently interviewed by Network World, says they've seen an average 70% reduction in MTTR. And that's in line with our numbers. It takes, according to Gartner, it takes IT departments on average 6.2 hours to resolve an issue after it's been reported. That's the issue reported. In our platform, 90% of those incidents are identified and remediation steps are taken without human intervention. If you recall, right, that's 70% reduction in MTTR. That means we've identified and remediated on average in 2 hours. According to Gartner, about 2/3 of business leaders think their companies need to speed up their digital transformation or face losing ground to competitors. 83% of IT pros say they don't have the visibility they need to effectively troubleshoot problems. We provide that to them. We go above and beyond those challenges to provide correlation, analytics, and root cause remediation. Sorry, we jumped a slide. Jump back. You know, the purpose of today's webinar was to address the work from home and enabling your customers to support that strategy. But as the new normal begins to make itself known, right, whatever that will be, QoS will be there to manage the entire dynamic of the customer's network with the overarching network oversight. Yes, work from home is a huge piece right now, but we take the full picture, you know, to complete the use case and bring an end-to-end solution for the long run to the customer. From updates, upgrades, troubleshooting, fix, remediation, we take proactive approach to management thanks to the advanced monitoring intelligence our solution provides. That means we often mitigate a network issue before it's even been aware by the end user. It's estimated that successful deployment of managed services will help IT departments reduce 25 to 45% of their, and increase operational efficiencies by 45 to 65%. That's relevant to today, right? People are trying to do more with less. And that's the value that we also bring to the partners into the conversation. You can help businesses in the current economy realize ROI enabling their work from home strategy. Let us do the burden of the lift for them because we've been through it. And for the most part, take their first steps right in their digital transformation journey. And that's where we're here to help. You know, that use case that I shared earlier for that national insurance company, it actually on Monday we were informed it won us an excellence award from TMC, specifically for that speed of deployment and the low error rate and the quality of touch that we provided. One other thing to talk about real quick, and then we'll open things up and see if there's any questions out there. You know, this is an opportunity for partners to help customers in funding if necessary. And that's a promo that we have access to through Dell Financial. If you want to learn more about that, reach out to myself, reach out to my team. We'll get you more details on that. I think that closes it out. If you're ready to start, we are too. Reach out. I said, you know, sales@QoSnet or partnerhelp@QoSnet.com. Either one, the team will reach out. We'll get back to you. We'll get you engaged. I'm going to see if there's any questions out there. Let's see what we've got. I've got a couple questions popping up. So we'll give it a second and I'll filter some questions. So one of our questions out there is, does QoS solutions include business circuit managed COS, QoS reliability regardless of the ISP? We will manage regardless of the ISP. Yes, Bob. So whether it be broadband, fiber, DSL, right, copper, traditional circuits, we will manage to that. We'll provide, you know, in the instances where there's SLAs, we have the capability to provide SLA deviation reporting. We will manage trouble ticketing. What we didn't get into was the granularity of our platform, right? We focus more on the work from home strategy, but if we talk about the granularity of our platform, you know, we have a self-remediation solution that's incorporated into our solution that actually can troubleshoot and resolve instances on-prem that can restore connectivity to the site. Typically, before most businesses are aware they have an impacting event, or at least they've been, and we'll notify them proactively, right, that they have an event, but we're remediating. We can typically remediate, you know, with a graceful or a hard reboot of the site and get them back up and running on their primary, typically within however long it takes to, you know, reboot a router. I think my home router takes about 5 minutes to fully come back up and running. So another question coming in. Is, in the new normal, is the home worker being treated like a branch office in the SD-WAN map? Essentially, Paul, yes, that's how we view it, right? It's just another node on the network. Paul's also asking, who pays for the internet access at the residence? That becomes a challenge with the corporation, right? If you think about it, if you think about the cost associated or the savings associated with employing a work from home, and we didn't really get into those stats, I could actually pull over a separate study that shows you those stats if you want to see it. But, you know, work from home, businesses have realized a significant savings in enabling a work from home workforce. You know, traditionally, I think the stats are currently to date, prior to the COVID incident, 5% of the workforce was working from home. And the savings seen through that was substantial, right? Productivity increases. Not only does productivity increase, expenses drop, customers, home workers see a savings. I think the number was around $4,000 to $5,000 in savings annualized. And that's based on obviously not having to commute and other unnecessary expenses. So who shoulders that burden, right? To Paul's question, you know, in most instances, corporations are realizing what they're gaining and they're willing to step up and offset some of that cost. See what other questions we have out there. So another question we've got is, does QoS handle the network design for the customer? 100%. Absolutely. I didn't get into the pro services side of the house. I tried to keep it light, focused on the work from home. But absolutely, we are a full pro services shop. We will do, you know, network design, implementation, and integration. Another question out there. I'm just going to go through these as they come in. So Bob's asking, how do we get more training on QoS? Bob, I will gladly have one of my guys. Rich Morris runs the East. Blaze Brady runs the West. We will reach out to you and we will get you a deeper dive into what it is we do and how we do it. If there's anybody out there who likewise wants to learn more, partnerhelp@qos.net will drop you into the team and we'll respond back to those requests and we'll set you up. We are going to do we'll probably do another webinar here, probably mid-May, focused on an in-depth in QoS. So we'll definitely get those invites out as well. Good question, Bob. Another question we've got, at what point should I bring QoS into the conversation? You know, you hear this from every provider under the sun out there, and it's obviously the answer is early on. Reason why it's early on. And I'm gonna go down a tangent here for a moment. SD-WAN has been done a disservice by a lot of the large big box providers, right? SD-WAN's been coupled with an access conversation or bolted onto a cost reduction engagement strategy. Or if you've got some voice providers out there, right, they enable SD-WAN but only to manage their voice traffic. And that's what SD-WAN was not meant to do. SD-WAN was meant to elevate the customer's network and really make applications soar. So if you think about that, right, you want to be talking about that early on, and you want to be talking about the right SD-WAN strategy. And, you know, I did mention our roots are baked in VeloCloud, and they are, right? We're VeloCloud Platinum partner. We sit on their customer advisory board. We're the only MSP who does. But that said, we care for other SD-WAN platforms in the stack. So we can truly become that trusted advisor to help your customer make the right decision based on their digital transformation needs. So that's why I like to say, bring us on early, so that we can be a true consultant. And we are. We like to see ourselves as a customer advocate, right? Our end goal is to deliver, I said it earlier on, our end goal is to deliver that superior edge experience for the end user. And that's what we try to strive for. So another question that came in, do you guys do troubleshooting and network management after rollout? Absolutely, right? That is our day two. That is what we really live and breathe to do. Our automated, our software-enabled layer, you know, right? We don't have that body in the seat. We have the software managing it to remediate. That's the value add of who QoS is. We tie that in with automation and analytics to drive our remediation and give that visibility. And we'll take it to whatever level necessary. That's the one thing we bring, right? Flexibility and agility to the customer. You know, if you think about some of our larger opportunities, I think of like Petco. Right, Petco, when they have a downed event, they want to know about it within minutes, right? Seconds, actually. They want to be aware that they have an impacting event. You think about public storage, right? You guys are all familiar with public storage. Public storage, they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to hear about it for several hours if we can't remediate it. And you think about it, right? Typically, we remediate MTTR reduction of 70%. We're restoring services within 2. Public storage doesn't want to know unless it's, you know, past a certain time window, and then they want to be called because they don't have such an immediate focus on supporting an end user experience, right? Staff is typically out in the warehouse or in the storage yard managing the customer needs. They don't necessarily care if they process credit card transaction right away. Whereas Petco, right, their business is impacted by being able to deliver that customer experience. So we build our response levels based around what that customer wants from us. You know, I said it earlier on, we build these automated workflows so that we know when site 1, 2, 3, 4 has an impacted event, how does that customer want us to respond? What do they want us to do? They want us to make notifications? Do they want us to remediate? So we build in that flexibility and agility into it. Another question coming in. All right, this one's from Brian Fleming. I'm not sure if that's the Brian Fleming I know or not, but either way, thanks, Brian, for the question. Do we support POCs? Obviously, the answer to the big answer to that is yes, we do POCs. But if you think about it, right, if you think about what we do from a customer engagement, the day 0, the day 1, the day 2, essentially a POC naturally flows into a full deployment, because the heavy lift of what QoS brings to the table is the design, the integration, the implementation, right? The onboarding into our NOC, the building of those workflows. And we've seen a lot over our 30-some thousand deployments. We've seen a lot. So we have those customized workflows that we can build that automation layer into. So by the time you've actually gotten through the POC, we've essentially onboarded the customer completely into the QoS solution story. And then from there, it's just a moment of hitting the go button, right? And then it's 10% of devices per week for a rollout. So again, if you want to learn more, hit us up at partnerhelp@qos.net or sales@qosnet.com, and we will get you more information. I will send out, I think it's a value, I will send out the questions that I propose to customers throughout this web series. Doesn't seem as though there are any other questions. So with that, you know, we're 20 minutes short of the hour. I didn't think this was going to run the first hour, but this was our first webinar in a while, and I wanted to get out in front of you guys and talk to you more about what we do. So I appreciate everybody's time today. Hope everybody stays safe. I look forward to talking to you in the future. Again, partnerhelp@qos.net drops you into my team, and we'll get you deeper into our strategy and our solution story. Thanks, everybody.